So year 3 in Tim Baker for Ayre and Michael is with us. I think I was saying last year to you, you're a busy man, didn't do a lot of media with me, but you've done certainly more this year. But jeepers, I mean, I just look back on the last year's interview and you had so many different hats on and you've added to that. But let's come to that a little later. Let's go back to the last 12 months.
Okay.
How's it been for you?
It's been very busy. It's been challenging in many respects. I think we're in that middle ground between we're no longer new and we're no longer, we're not yet, or we shouldn't be yet, looking towards the next election.
I think some are.
But I mean, for me, it's all about delivery. It's about, we've got 5 years to actually move the needle in terms of the Isle of Man's performance. That's why I stood, because I wanted to see the island do better, and that's what I'm committed to doing. So for me, it's about keeping going, and in anything, the middle is always the difficult bit, because you're not near the end and you've not got the excitement of the starting. But
well, the meat plant was a big thing last year, and you were very frank about saying it had been a mess and you were turning it around. We've done an interview down there, which again, first time we've been able to, public probably seen inside what's going on. Where are we up to? And I know you'll give us an honest answer. I mean, no, things are on track.
Things are going reasonably well.
See, that's what I mean there, reasonably well. So there's a few bumps.
There's some challenges, and I think if you had any farmers listening or talking to you, they would be talking about the fact that they want to put more animals through the plant, and at the moment we're not. Although we're taking more than we have done historically, we're not yet able to process as many as they want or as quickly. Having said that, we've done some really exciting things quite recently in terms of a partnership with Trade Distribution, which is a 3-year strategic partnership that gives us extra capacity into the UK. Our sales relationship with Northgate Foods is working well. We've got a great management team in there.
So you're confident anyway?
I'm confident, and we're working hard on opening up new accounts in the Isle of Man.
Have you mentioned any supermarkets and their bits? That's an ongoing thing, I know. Children's Champion?
Yep.
How's that gone?
I think the Children's Champion is a great role, and actually what it really is for me is scrutiny in action. I know there's a lot of talk about MLCs and scrutiny. Actually, the Children's Champion role is in there at the sharp end, and it's influencing decisions that are made. So through the corporate parenting group, which I chair, which is now an energised group of people that are working across, and that's across health and education and home affairs, with a clear and common purpose, which is to improve life for the looked after children, which effectively government is the parent to. So I'm really pleased with that. I was really pleased with the select committee, which I got approved by Tim Wald and that I chaired, and the report is in the public domain, and we're waiting for the debate in October, Tim Wald. But I'm hopeful that there's going to be quite a lot of support from council ministers for the recommendations there, and that's really making a difference, because as an island we've really treated our looked after children in a very, very poor way over the years. Yeah,
we were talking about Knotfield a lot last year, but it was all covered with the problems with things going on, police involvement. Has that finally, conclusions been sorted? And
no. It's.
I thought. I'm trying to think myself. Yeah. Where are we up to?
The report was put in the public domain, and then the police and the Attorney General decided that there was a case to answer. So there are effectively sub judice currently.
So we can't talk about it.
My understanding is that case is scheduled to be heard, I think, in the next month or so, and so I'm very hopeful that David Cretney's report can be debated, and some real action can be taken to bring justice for those.
So there's a lot yet to be done on that.
There is, yes.
Okay, yeah. And you'll have your input on that, being.
Well, I mean, clearly, I brought the motion in the first place. Yeah. I'm passionate about this. It's a chapter in the island's history that we have to draw a line under in a proper way. We have to move on. We have to acknowledge what happened, and actually, that's what the people who are in Knotfield, actually that's what they wanted. Yeah. And it's a shame it's taken so long.
Well, we'll do that as and when we can. DOI, right? I mean, which bit of DOI? Remind me, which is your.
Well, I've got ports,
because you've got a new one,
and I've now got highways.
Okay.
So in ports, obviously, the two key elements there are the sea services agreement with obviously with the steam packet, which I'm really pleased with where we've got to in terms of over the 3 years acquiring the steam packet and putting in place a new strategic sea service agreement. I think that's really foundational for the island going forward. And of course, in the airport, we've got this piece of work going on around the SAFE project and whether the airport should be put at arm's length or not.
Okay, let's talk about that. You just got rid of the security people recently as well. That one's just gone through now, so that was another thing. The baggage handlers went the year before. It makes a profit in the sense of everyone that arrives here and leaves or whatever pays money. I think it's a leaving tax, isn't it? So it makes a lot of money, but it's still costing a lot of money, and you want to make that better.
Well,
am I there?
Where it came from was the SAVE project, which Treasury initiated, and I fully support the reasons for it being initiated. And that's been about having a good hard look at what government does, how it does it. The airport came on the radar. I mean, it's an unusual model for government to be running an airport, and the management team felt that some more commercial flexibility would be good for them. So supportive of it being looked at and going through a proper evaluation process. Where that will lead, I think it's too early to tell. I think what we have to do is we have to make decisions for the right reasons, not to tick a box.
But to put it arm's length, just like the steam packet, it's always questionable what exactly that is going to mean. I mean, you still want to take the money, obviously, all that lovely money for doing absolutely nothing, for people paying on their airfare tickets.
Well, it's the money you're referring to is really the air passenger duty. So that comes into government. Unfortunately, that sits somewhere else. It sits within the duties.
Oh, you can't plough that back in?
It's not.
It's not yours.
It's not the airport's money, and that's why it looks as though the airport's losing money. In fact, if you take the rounded view, the airport actually clearly contributes economically to the island. And my starting point for this whole debate was, if you're going to put it at arm's length, you have to put that money into the airport. Otherwise, you've just got another loss-making business. And
we talked about I was being a bit sort of but calling it third world in places last year. The security thing has been sorted. Are you happy with the progress down there and the blacking out the windows and all that sort of thing? I
mean, yes, the blacking out the windows is a bit of a sideshow. But in terms of the actual operation of the airport, I think the management team are doing a good job in difficult circumstances. But it's like any other asset; you've got to keep reinvesting in it and refreshing it. And it is our shop window to visitors, and we absolutely have to be investing and making it the best that it can be.
Do something with that arrivals hall to make it an experience on your arrival. I always think when I come in there, it's the most glum place. You're waiting around for your luggage, and that's your first impression of the Isle of Man.
It looks a bit dated.
Okay.
And I think there's some really interesting ideas about what you could do with the airport and how we could connect the Isle of Man better to other jurisdictions.
Well, you can have all those video screens up like every other airport, which while you're standing there waiting for luggage, gives you some nice views of the Isle of Man. Simple things like that. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job, but clearly, it's a first contact, isn't it, for so many people?
And I think some of those things are the sorts of things that actually giving the management a bit more freedom would actually make easier to happen, because at the moment, government isn't always the quickest at getting
I'm going to move on quickly. You were in favour of the big boats having the big new harbour facilities and deep berths, I think. You came out that wasn't the way forward. Have you changed your mind, or are you still on that?
I'm supportive of a controlled test of the cruise market.
That's a supportive. That can mean anything. What's that mean?
Okay. So I actually think that what's in the DOI's harbour strategy is right, which is invest in the Victoria Pier, which is what's gone through Tynwald, and it's a relatively modest amount of capital expenditure.
This will get the medium-sized boats, or small, medium.
Small and medium, yeah. I mean, there was talks of 400-metre berths that questionable about how that would actually work. But for me, we have to be really careful that we don't just bring in huge ships that we can't cope with.
Private sector offering to do something, right?
Well, I think you have to look very close at the detail behind that.
You don't look very impressed with that, do you?
It's if the private sector is genuinely putting real risk capital in, then that's fine. But actually, a lot of the time, you end up finding that government is actually underpinning all this, and that's not true private capital. So I think we've got a cruise business that's growing. I think the smaller and medium-sized ships are where we should be at, and I think that Victoria Pier solution will deliver that in a controlled way.